Alongside Adam Lauridsen, I'm Ravi Kapur. After NBA Finals game number 2, the Lakers once again toppled the Miami Heat, and they're halfway to a championship, which would be their 17th championship as a franchise, which would tie the Celtics. And certainly, Adam, coming into the game, the Heat, without a couple of their best players, they seemed shorthanded the whole night, and certainly they just didn't have enough firepower to keep up with the Lakers.
This is what you would have expected given the lineup that the Heat were putting out on the floor. They don't have players that can match the physicality of Anthony Davis and LeBron James at this point. They basically had their will. Anthony Davis shot 75% from the field, 15 for 20. Anytime you're allowing a player of his skill that easy a time at the basket, it's going to be very hard to win. The Heat played a pretty good game given what they had to work with, but it wasn't enough given how shorthanded they are.
I mean, Davis looks like the best player on the floor, but of course you can't shortchange LeBron James, who had almost another triple-double tonight with 33, 9, and 9. Let's talk about this James-AD duo now that we have a couple of games in the finals under their belt together. I mean, where do they rank? I mean, we certainly saw Steph Curry and KD dominant in 2017 and 2018. I mean, where does this duo rank compared to all the other great duos we've seen in the NBA history?
I wouldn't put them up there yet in the top tier just because we haven't seen them tested against a high-quality team. They had a relatively easy path to the finals. They're obviously a good match for each other. But we got to see Steph and Clay for a number of years against good competition and really get a feel for them. The same with Shaq and Kobe, some of the other great duos that we've seen over the last 20, 30 years in the NBA. So it's premature, but they're obviously very talented, and I think they're going to have an easy time getting a championship this year.
So Miami, came out with some fight. We had, a nice contribution off the bench from Kelly Olynyk and Kendrick Nunn and players that, aren't really expected to do much, certainly not on this stage. But what's happened with Tyler Hero? I mean, this kid is a tremendous budding star, and he really has not performed. I mean, he's been playing like a rookie.
I think it's fair to say that he was eventually going to revert to being a rookie. The finals, even in the bubble, is a singular experience. They often talk about how you need to get there once and lose before you can really compete at that level. And I think we're seeing that. It's a big moment. It's tough competition. He has a lot of attention focused on him. He's not the underdog sleeper anymore. He made enough noise in the last round and in the rest of the playoffs that he's drawing some tough defensive attention.
I mean, certainly it does seem like a guy like a Hero or Duncan Robinson has to have a monster game, 30 plus to complement Butler, who played well tonight. Butler was able to get his teammates involved, but Butler has to potentially have a 35, 40-point night. And I actually think Iguodala is maybe keeping himself back a little bit. I mean, if he was a little bit more aggressive offensively, because I certainly think he can contribute a little bit more as well.
Yeah, Iguodala is really just coming into his first major minutes in a long time. So I think I wouldn't say quite shaking off the rust, but I think finding the gear at which he wants to play is a bit of a challenge. He's had some very effective minutes. He obviously had a great game in the prior series, but he's been a bit hit or miss. He's also getting up there, so I think it's a challenge for him to perform even at the same way he was a year or two ago with the Warriors.
Now, if this was a normal NBA Finals series, which it's not because they're being played in a bubble in Orlando, it would only be 2-0 Lakers, home court advantage. They're holding serve. But they're not flying to Miami. They're going to be staying in Orlando. They'll be playing, just with 1 day of rest. So what's the mindset for Miami? And if you're Eric Spoelstra, again, they had a pretty good game plan tonight. They tried a zone, which I got to be honest, as someone who went to Syracuse and saw the 2-3 zone for my years in college, unless you have the length and know how to play the zone, gosh, I mean, James and Davis just ate them up. Is there anything that you can do, let's just say ostensibly without their players on game 3? Do they find something tonight that they could use to potentially steal one?
The zone, as you point out, is a bit of a desperation move. You don't play that type of defense if you feel like you can match up man to man. You're playing from behind. I think the positive that you put on the board if you're Miami is that they were executing well. They were scoring most of their baskets with assists. They were moving the ball. They were getting good looks. If you have Olynyk hit a couple more shots, Hero hit a couple more shots, Duncan Robinson hits some open three-pointers, you're in that 3 to 4 to 5 point range where anything can happen. If you're close at the end of the game, you've got a fighting chance. They're an NBA team. So I think that's what you hope for. But really, in the back of their mind, I think they're going to be thinking about the missing pieces, and it's going to be all about Bam. If he's back for game 3, that's going to be a big boost, and I think they're in a position where they could be more competitive. Without him, hard to see any result that's going to be better than what we saw tonight.
Fair point. And of course, Dragic has had a great year as well. And he's dealing with a very serious foot injury. I'll be amazed if he can play in game 3. And if he plays, he might be at 50%.
Yeah, I don't have any expectation that he's going to be a contributor, but Bam's injury sounds like it might be something that he could tough through with limited capability, but still helping on defense and maybe drawing some attention. We'll have to wait and see. The series is so fast paced in the bubble; it's every other day here for the first few games, so there's no time to recover.
Well, the Lakers are clearly playing extremely well. Anthony Davis playing as well as I've ever seen him. LeBron James continues to stay true to form, and the Lakers are halfway to a championship. For Adam Lauridsen, I'm Ravi Kapur. We'll see you after game 3.